Clay Busch, how are you?
I'm doing well. You got a Busch to another Busch.
That's
Here we
right.
go.
That's right. Absolutely, Clay Busch. I don't know who's more famous. I think it's you, but
I wish I had that last name. At least my bank account would be different. that's
right.
for sure.
Hey, Fred,
Good to see you.
Thanks for being here. So, Clay, obviously, you're coming from the event side. You are with. I want to make sure I get this right. You're the Vice President of Marketing and Sponsorship for Danny Wimmer Presents.
Correct.
And then, Fred, you're an author, a best-selling author, drinks writer. Specifically, we're going to talk a lot about bourbon today, as you can imagine. So, I'll start with you, Clay, though, for the event. People that are at home right now that maybe have heard some of the marketing pieces for Bourbon and Beyond, but they're not really sure what it is. Let's give me a background on the event.
Well, it's the first of its kind, and I know it's hard to understand what that means. I mean, when you look at festivals, especially food and beverage festivals, they never really have a musical tie-in at the level that we're bringing to Bourbon and Beyond. So where you'll have incredible food and beverage tie-ins, the music will always be a secondary. And this is an event, an experience that focuses on music, beverage, and food in the same capacity as you would a music festival, a food festival, and a beverage festival. And I think that's where this is very exciting for us to kind of implement this into the market, because you can really only do this type of event in Louisville, Kentucky because of the bourbon element.
Well, not only that, I always say this about Louisville. I'm born and raised here. We love to eat here, we love to drink here, and of course we love music. And when you talk about the music, it's a pretty big name list. Is that fair to say?
I would think so. I mean, Stevie Nicks, I mean, we all know that name. Eddie Vedder, the Steve Miller Band, Band of Horses, Gary Clark Jr. I mean, you could go on and on and on. And then you even got Kiefer Sutherland coming to town this weekend. So that's exciting for me.
So Fred, as a Louisvillian also, and of course a huge connoisseur and writer about bourbon, what does this mean, in your opinion, to the city? And what can people expect when they come out there from a bourbon standpoint?
It's been very exciting to me to see how much this city has embraced it, and the bourbon community has embraced Bourbon and Beyond. People can come to this incredible event. Obviously they get great music, but there's a culinary side to this. Tom Colicchio from Top Chef, Edward Lee. We all know and love Edward Lee. You know, he's all over the place right now, but he's still a Louisvillian, and he's going to have incredible access. And he's got other celebrity chefs there. And on the bourbon side, we have this incredible opportunity to get to know bourbon at another level. And you come to some of the workshops and you come to some of the seminars, you're going to learn about how bourbon is made, the ins and outs of the mash bills that go with it. Barrel bourbon, we're doing a special thing where we talk about the art of blending, which blending back in the day used to be a very dirty word in American whiskey, but now it's starting to make a little bit of a comeback. We're going to have Fred No and Freddie No on stage, as well as the Hendersons from Angel's Envy. We're having a whole series called Like Father, Like Son, and you basically get to see that bourbon is so much more than just a drink. It is ingrained in our culture, and you can see it from the very top of the families, and it's a great opportunity to see how much bourbon means to Kentucky.
Well, and so many people, they like to go out and they like to see how it's made, and they go on these different tours. We're bringing it to people. I mean, and you've got some huge names, like you said, the Nose. I mean, there's going to be a lot of people there. So that's just one element of it, though, right? So you get the A-list music, you get this bourbon, and then, of course, like you said, the great food. And from a food standpoint, what can people expect out there?
Oh man, there's so much out there. I mean, we have pop-up activations with some of the bourbons. So you have bourbon pairings with food. So you have the Love and Fire is one I'm really excited. That's the Larceny Bourbon food activation. It's open fire cooking, so you have meat hanging off of racks, and it's an experience. It's something you want to watch, and then if you want to participate in it and eat it, you can as well. The food is always going to be a big part of this. So, I mean, bourbon and food are paired so well together. We have a lot of local restaurants coming out. Like you said, the local chefs are coming out as well. So I think it's going to be an upgraded food experience. It's not a Carney Festival Stadium vibe. You're actually going to go out there and be able to try real restaurants that are from Louisville, from real chefs from around the country. So that's where it's very, very groundbreaking.
Now, Fred, there's a lot of locals that are very passionate about bourbon. They're proud. They've got the Kentucky pride. They've got all of that. Talk a little bit about why you got into bourbon, and then, again, how people that are so passionate about it can really enjoy it this weekend.
Well, my story kind of begins after a tour in Iraq. I moved to Louisville to be with the woman who's now my wife, and in 2005 I start writing about bourbon, and it just kind of takes off. My first book on whiskey comes out in 2013. It was called Whiskey Women, and I wrote Bourbon Curious and Bourbon, the Rise, Fall, and Rebirth of American Whiskey that came out last year. And everything that I've tried to do, whether it's with the Kentucky Derby Museum or some of the shows I do nationally, like Tales of the Cocktail in New Orleans, I try to bring education, I try to educate as many people as I can about bourbon, because, we 15, 20 years ago, bourbon would never have this opportunity. Wine and craft beer is always thought to be, kind of like the taste leaders in beverage. But I've always believed that bourbon is every bit as good as wine as a pairing. And this is a show that kind of proves that. And in addition to that, in the evolution of bourbon shows, this stuff didn't happen in the 1960s. Bourbon shows started with the Kentucky Bourbon Festival in the early 1990s, and they continually progressed. But for about the last 10, 15 years, the basically whiskey shows and bourbon shows would basically be a hotel room with people serving. And now we've had so many culinary great chefs come on board. You've had so much enthusiasm nationally for bourbon that this is an opportunity to put it all together. And we've always joked in the bourbon business that the distillers are like rock stars. And I don't think any of us ever believed that the bourbon distillers would get billing over actual rock stars.
Yeah, and then they are.
And bourbon is the star of Bourbon and Beyond.
They're the headliner.
Yeah, that's huge. Hence why it's called Bourbon and Beyond.
Yep.
Now, Clay, real quick, is this a family-friendly event, or is this going to be adults only? Take me through that.
No, it's family-friendly. We have, obviously you have the alcoholic options,
sure.
but it's good for the family to come out. The music is really what separates it, so you'll be able to enjoy a day at the park all weekend with your family. We'll have lots of alcoholic options as well, so you can go get a Coca-Cola, get a water, get other options, coffees on site if you're not a drinker. The food is really what's going to make that separate itself from everything else.
The people that are watching this right now and they want to go to the event, how can they find out more information?
I would go to bourbonandbeyond.com. Okay. It's all the information's on our website. You can learn more about Fred, learn more about the festival, see all our headliners. But what he really talked about is you can see our programming, so you can see all the panels and workshops and everything that's going on besides the musicians.
And the music schedule's on there as well.
Absolutely.
Everything is there. So real quick, we got less than 30 seconds, but you brought some bottles with us today. Take me through what you got.
So I brought quite a few three different things here. Regular Jim Beam, great product, at 80 proof. Maker's Mark, tried and true, everybody knows and loves it. And Barrel Bourbon, this is one of their latest releases. One of the great things about Bourbon Beyond, a lot of people are launching their products at this, and Barrel Bourbon will be launching a new bourbon there. And the Copper and Kings, a local brandy distiller, is launching a whiskey there as well. So a lot of great new products that are going to be there, and a lot of great whiskey like in the Hunter's Lodge with Haymarket. Yep. So yeah, it's going to be awesome.
And so what's in there now?
So I have some barrel bourbon here. This is their batch 12.
Well, cheers to Bourbon and Beyond, the first year.
Cheers.
The year of first of many, I'm sure.
Cheers.
Smell
Cheers.
it, right?
Yes.
Trying to be an expert here. Trying to be an expert. That's smooth.
And it's good to call out that you see Pappy on these glasses. We'll have them on site as well. The Van Winkle family will be there, so we'll have the merchandise, and also I think Julian's going to be doing one of the panels and speaking. So that's exciting.
Another big name. So a lot of names: music, bourbon, food, you name it. It's an event that you want to get to. If you want more information or you want to buy tickets, bourbonandbeyond.com. When we come back, we got a lot more to get to. But gentlemen, thanks for being here, and best of luck this weekend.
Thanks for having us.
All right, thanks again. We'll be right back.